Hey guys, it's Paul once again with VHScollector.com, and I'm back to do a follow-up video to my previous one, which was about the new Wizard Video re-releases and how I felt they weren't real. It caused quite a stir, I guess, in the VHS collecting community when this video came out. I had a lot of people messaging me and a lot of people who enjoyed the video, and it caused such a stir that Band actually responded to the video, which I thought was kind of cool. And it was actually posted, I think, on a Fangoria News exclusive or something, but it's not actually like an interview, it's a voicemail, I guess. It's like a 2-minute voicemail from Band regarding this. And one of the guys over at Fangoria called him up and asked him what he felt about these accusations about these videos that aren't real, really in regards to my video, which was also mentioned in that news article in Fangoria. And pretty much what he says is that it's ludicrous. First of all, he's like on a movie set, so I guess he didn't really have time to watch the video or to talk very long. So he doesn't really touch on any of the points I made in the video. It's just a really short video of him saying it's ludicrous that anyone would say these are fake. Talks about how Vestron or Lightning Video reprinted or copied a bunch of the covers back in the day, and all these things. But his biggest argument was that it wasn't practical, or it's not financially feasible, I guess, for him to print short runs of these big boxes.
It's absurd that people think these boxes are fake. First of all, to print those boxes today, you would have to print 5,000 to 10,000 unit run. They were very expensive boxes to print back in the day. So it would be totally insane to print 5,000 to 10,000 units per title times 36 titles to sell a few hundred of them.
I guess he doesn't realize that people are already doing that. Of course you can get short runs of these big boxes. They're not cheap, of course, but you can do it. And, you know, some new labels, video labels or VHS labels are actually doing that. Check this one out. Here's probably the first modern big box, horror big box. It's this 555 big box from Massacre Video. It was the first big box they released. It's kind of rare and hard to get now. I only got it because I was supporting Lewis with his endeavor with Massacre Video. I've got number 14 of 100. But you can get these made. Here is one. And this was only 100 out of 100 were made. This is number 14 out of 100. So this is a short run. In fact, this is a shorter run than what Charles Band is releasing. Trauma, I believe, is 310. Some of them are 240 were printed, and this is just 100. So you can do it. And this, I think, was I think I paid $60 or something for this one. They also released a big box for the movie Demon Queen. That was probably limited to 100 as well, and I believe that was $40 to buy, which is cheaper than what Charles Band is charging people. Also, I have another one that I thought was worth mentioning, is this one, Slaughter Tales by Johnny Dickey. I bought this to support him because he's a big fan of VHS Collector and he's a great contributor to the site, and I wanted to support him, and here it is. And this is even more complicated than a big box. This has a limited run of 100, as you can see there, and I have number 82. And this is more complicated than a big box. It has the flap. It's a book box essentially. It has that, you know, disc on there, and this is only limited to 100. So this is a short run, and this is more complicated than a big box. So it's possible. You can do it. So his argument just doesn't work. It's just an excuse. I guess he was kind of saving that for if this issue came up. I'm not trying to vilify Charles Band, not the least bit. I grew up watching his films, and I can remember being a little kid and seeing the Puppet Master previews on pay-per-view and renting the Puppet Master films at Blockbuster or Hollywood Video and watching them all the time. Demonic Toys and Castle Freak and other Full Moon type movies that he was involved with, and I loved them. I mean, I love his films. I'm not really making a statement on that. I think, you know, he's a great filmmaker or artist or whatever you want to consider him as, but he's not as good a businessman in regards to his business practices. I am an archivist, both as a hobby and as a professional. I actually do it as a full-time job, archive photography for a magazine photographer. So that's what I actually do. And also, I'm a VHS collector. And of course, as both an archivist and a VHS collector, VHScollector.com, a VHS database, was bound to happen. It was in the cards for me. And I'm a perfectionist when it comes to data and information, so I had to know for sure whether these were real or not, because accuracy of information is really important to me. Just like, you know, guys who collect baseball cards or comic books, there are tons of fakes of baseball cards and comic books out there. There's lots of them out there, even CDs and all these things. I remember there were pretty good Japanese bootlegs of movies still in theaters at factory pressed and everything. I mean, there's a ton of this kind of stuff happening out there. So it's important for me to know the truth. And I can never say anything with absolute 100% certainty. You know, I analyze the evidence, and I'm making a judgment based on the evidence, and it's really up to you guys to decide what you think, and I'm just saying what I think, and I think these are phony, and I laid all the evidence out there. There's a lot of points I made in that video, and not one of them was really addressed, which, understandably, he's working on a movie, he doesn't have time, you know, for this whole controversy, or whatever maybe. So I understand that, understood. I'm just trying to find the truth. Because I'm an archivist and truth is important to me. So we are going to look at another video that someone else made, someone who supports Charles Band, and it's in regards to Demoniac and some of the information on the Demoniac box. He thinks, well, the bottom flap of the re-release of Demoniac is different than the original.
This font on the reproduction is a little bit bolder. You can see it. Let me sharpen it up there. You can see how bold it is, right? It's a little bit bolder compared to the original one, which has maybe a little bit of a finer font. It's almost infinitesimal. Well, actually, not quite. It's very bold there, and it's very fine here. But the big difference is that, look at this. This is the reproduction. Copyright 1984 Wizard Video, a subsidiary of Empire Entertainment, all rights reserved, printed in the USA, blah, 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 blah. Whereas down here, this is the original, and then the original says copyright 1985 Wizard Video, all rights reserved, printed in the USA, distributed in the USA exclusively by Spectrum Video Distribution. Nowhere on the original does it say Wizard at all. I mean, pardon me, not Wizard, but Empire. There's no claim of Empire on this at all. This repro is dated a year earlier. This is a year later. So what gives? Is one the 1984 release that claims Empire Entertainment? Is that the domestic release or the international? Or is this the domestic or the international? Is this perhaps a Canadian release? No, because it says USA. This says USA as well. So these are both American releases, but they were done at different points. I don't know.
And I have an explanation for this. And I don't have a bunch of different versions of Demoniac to compare it to. I don't have a re-release of Demoniac, but I discovered something very interesting that I think I should share with you guys. It's really important to the information. Now, first, I want you to look at all of the Wizard logo. First of all, the first 4 of the Wizard re-releases in the month of February. These 4 were released February 12th. And these aren't in any consecutive order of cat number. These are just randomly picked out. For whatever reason, I don't know. Let's look at the logo on each one. The little Wizard logo. Now you gotta look closely. This is very important. But first, look at the Return of the Zombies. You'll see the Wizard in the corner there. And you'll notice a few things. The Wizard doesn't have any creases in his cloak, right? It's clearly visible on this cover. Also notice the circle around the Wizard is very faint, right? It's very faint. You can't really see it that well. Now, let's look at another video. We'll look at Oasis of Zombies. It looks like the same exact logo. Notice how there's no creases in the Wizard's cape. Also notice the very faint circle around the Wizard. Very important. Now, let's look at the next one, which is Trauma. Same exact Wizard logo. No creases, very faint circle around him. Okay, now, let's get to Demoniac. Is Demoniac any different? No. Same exact thing. Wizard with no lines or creases in his cloak and a faint line, faint circle around him. Now that's very important. Now let's look at the originals. Now I don't have an original of Oasis of Zombies, so I'm going to have to leave that one out. But I do have originals of Trauma, Demoniac, and Return of the Zombies. Now look at this. I'm gonna also show close-up scans of these. Look at the logo here. on Return of the Zombies. Look at the wizard there. He has no creases in his cape or cloak, and the circle around him is very faint. You can barely see it, just like on the re-releases. This logo is identical to the re-releases, like it should be. It's identical to Return of the Zombies. Now, let's look at, I guess, Trauma. There it is. It's a white circle with white creases. It's totally different, and this catalog number isn't even consecutive. There'd be no reason for it to be a black circle with no creases, or you can notice that it's totally different than the re-release, right? Now, let's look at the logo for Demoniac. Look at that. It's the wizard with no white, just like Return of the Zombies, but look at the circle around him. It's a lot thicker, and he has creases in his cape. You notice that? You see those creases? Okay? Well, what does this tell you? This is what it tells me. Whoever was working on these cover arts or reworking them for the re-release, they were using Return of the Zombies as a template for the other three. And that's why the other three had the same exact wizard logo on the bottom. Okay? It's that simple. Also, in the video that I mentioned that someone posted, there's a copyright on the bottom. Very interesting. Look at this. First, let me mention that Return of the Zombies and Demoniac are the same exact color. Same exact color box, right? Now, we already laid down the groundwork that they used the same strip on the bottom for the first 4 re-releases, when the originals were not the same. And also remember, these are not consecutive catalog numbers, so it doesn't make sense that they would be the same anyway. I mean, that they're such far apart, I guess. Alright, now let's look at Demoniac. It actually says 1985 Wizard Video. Just like the original Demoniac in the video that the other person put up, right? It also has that sticker, manufactured and distributed by Lightning Video, but it has 1985 Wizard Video. There it is. It's all sharp. You can see right there. It doesn't say anything about Empire Entertainment or anything like the re-release does. But here's the great thing. The 1984 of Return of the Zombies. Remember I said that they use Return of the Zombies as a template for the other 3? Look what this says. This is 1984 Wizard Video, a subsidiary of Empire Entertainment, Inc. Remember I said that they used Return of the Zombies as a template for the other movies? They used the bottom of this and also put it on the bottom of the re-release of Demoniac, even though the original is different. That's my assessment of that. I think that they're fake. Then they're not original. I think it's clear. I just showed you the originals and compared them to the new ones. To sum it up, all the new ones have the same faint line around the wizard, and the cloak of the wizard is missing lines. This is the same exact wizard logo on Return of the Zombies, and if you look closely to the faint lines on the circle, they match up exactly. So they did use that same logo for the other 3 releases. Also, I showed that they just copied this because it's the same color as Return of the Zombies, so they said, oh, we could just recycle this one and put it on the bottom of Demoniac. Or actually this one, I'm sorry. They pretty much copied this one for Return of the Zombies and put it on Demoniac, and that's why the re-release has the re-release of Demoniac has a different copyright than the original. Okay, and that's my honest opinion. I don't have a bunch of different versions of Demoniac. I only have the one tape, but this all makes clear sense to me. In Ben's response video, he mentions that Vestron Video, who owns Lightning Video, recopied the covers and re-released them. Let's say that was true. I guess it is true if you believe the sticker on the bottom. It says, as you can read it, says manufactured and distributed by Lightning Video. Manufactured and distributed by Lightning Video. If they copied the covers, like we saw Headless Eyes, how weak that was, and how the fine detail wasn't there, and how the sharp lines, or lines that should be sharp, are kind of fuzzy. Why would they screw that one up, but make the lines on this one so crisp and clear? That doesn't make any sense to me. Besides, this is what's stupid. Look at the original Headless Eyes. This isn't the original of Headless Eyes, but just as an example. They put their logo on the back. they printed these, right? And it probably says it on the bottom somewhere. It doesn't. But they made these and they put that logo there on the bottom of the original. If they were manufacturing good copies of Headless Eyes with sharp lines and everything, why would they release an inferior copy if they were already releasing really pristine, good-looking copies or releases? Copy might not be the right word, but it doesn't make sense that Lightning Video would have a really good version of their release and also a very, very crappy faint version. Why would they have to, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So a few people still don't want to accept this. Some people say they're still going to side with bands over this, especially the guy over at Fangoria, but nobody's addressing all these points that I'm making in the past video. And I'm not trying to stir up some crap with anybody, but I'm just trying to get the facts out there. And I'm letting you guys see my evidence and make the decision yourself whether you want to believe these are real or not. And I think that video that guy put up about comparing Demoniac just proves my point even further, that they just copied. And what kind of coincidence would it be that the first four have the same logo? If they were real, let's say they were real, what kind of coincidence is it that the first four they release, would have all the same logos? If they were original, that doesn't make sense, right? Because these movies were randomly picked out, but they all have the same logo. That's very odd, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So you want to spend your money, go ahead, to each his own. You could do it as all day if you want and spend the $600 for the down payment on the payment plan. You could do anything of that sort. But I, as a real, I guess pure collector, I want the originals, and these aren't them. So this is my rebuttal video. I really hope that these videos don't go back and forth, because I really don't want to make more videos on this topic, but like I said, I'll just end it with this, saying that it's for you guys to decide. You saw the evidence, now make your own choice. This has been Paul with VHScollector.com. Have a good night, guys.